Tonight is the night. Bright lights, high crowd. Yeah, we came to throw down. Everybody get loud. Tonight is the night. A-list can't miss when we burn it to the ground. Everybody get down. Tonight is the night. We stay climbing while our fame kept rising. Steady climbing, now we on top.
And welcome, one and all, to my review for last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. Last night, Raw was live from Tampa, Florida, and this was the August 31st edition of Raw. How did the show do? What are my overall thoughts and opinions on it? Did this show do enough to build up for Night of Champions coming up on September 20th? Well, we're going to find out. So we kick things off. We have the opening video and pyro, and then we have the man, the icon, the franchise. Yes, Sting opens up Monday Night Raw. In a rare appearance, I believe this is only the second time Sting has ever opened up Raw. So it was great seeing Stinger out there. You know, he did the woo and all that great stuff. So, and then basically he wanted to address Seth Rollins, and he said that basically he took exception to Seth comparing himself to such great legends such as a Bruno Sammartino or an Andre the Giant or an Ultimate Warrior, and that when he fought Triple H at WrestleMania, that Triple H was more than a man than Seth would ever be, because he was able to man up and shake Sting's hand. So, you know, that's pretty much all that he had to say. And then later on, we saw backstage, the backstage segment between Stephanie and Seth. Basically, they said Seth was like, Sting, he's just an old relic, you know. Yeah, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And then he kind of said, well, you know, I am just as good as Triple H. And then Stephanie's like, well, wait a minute. You're not there yet. You know, it takes years and years for a wrestler to reach that pedestal. And you may get there one day, but right now you're not there yet. So Seth kind of had to back down in what he was saying. So that was the opening segment. You know, overall, I liked what Sting had to say. And sorry about that. And yeah, that's how we kicked off the show. Moving on, we had a rematch from SummerSlam with Dolph Ziggler facing Rusev. Overall, I thought this was a good match. I actually thought it was a better match than the one that they had at SummerSlam 2 weeks ago. You know, Ziggler and Rusev, they got at least 10 to 13 minutes to work, and they really put on a good performance. The one spot in the match that I really liked was when it looked like there was going to be another count-out, just like at SummerSlam. And I'm like, no, this can't end in another count-out. Come on. Can't do it 2 matches in a row. But then, yeah, that was after Ziggler launched Rusev into the steps, and he's pretty spent, and then it looked like they weren't going to make it, and they just barely made it back into the ring. And as Ziggler, you know, he hit the zigzag, and then it looked like he was going to get the win, and then Summer Rae came in and interfered, and then the place lost it when Lana and Summer Rae started going at it, and that led to the DQ, for which Ziggler picked up the victory. So overall, that was a fun match and a good way to kick off the in-ring portion of this show. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with this feud. I'm hoping it leads to a mixed tag team match at Night of Champions, and I think that would be very good. And then we had also an interview, backstage interview between Ziggler, with Ziggler and Lana, and with Renee, and then he basically, you know, does the interview, and then he goes into his dressing room, and then we see Summer Rae enter into his dressing room, and we later find out something happened. There was some type of altercation that caused some sort of conflict. Either, you know, Ziggler was in the shower, and then he came out and Summer Rae said he tried to approach her, but Ziggler said no. She only saw him naked for a couple seconds, so it definitely wasn't PG. I enjoyed it because it was something different, and then Summer Rae just runs out of the room either laughing or crying. I don't know what she was doing, and then Lana seemed visibly upset, so it'll be interesting to see where this feud continues at moving on from here. And then we had the first of the 3 Divas Beat the Clock challenges. Going into this show, I thought this was going to be a great idea. It was something different, never been done before. Okay. 3 members of Team PCB, and the winner of the Beat the Clock challenge will be the number 1 contender to face Nikki at Night of Champions. And before this, Team Bella is in the ring, and Nikki basically cuts a promo saying that I introduce you to Bellatron. It's going to count down until the day that I become the longest reigning Divas champion. So I kind of like that. Something different. But this match, Becky won in 3:21 with she applied the disarmer for the win against the Alicia Fox. Excuse me. There wasn't much to say. 3:21. What can you really do in that amount of time? Are we going back to these short matches? We'll see later on. It didn't get much better. It felt like it was rushed. And the Lex Man, shout out to him, mentioned this. I think a triple threat, and also Solid Monster. The Sounds Off. Very good podcast. Check that out too. They mentioned that a triple threat, between all 3 members of Team PCB to determine the number 1 contendership would have been the better way to go. And looking back on it, I agree, because to me this Beat the Clock challenge mess did nothing at all. So that was that. Then we actually had Ryback taking on the Big Show. I wasn't expecting much from this match, and actually it was better than I thought it was going to be. However, I'm just sick of seeing Ryback face The Miz, the Big Show, back and forth. Can we please get him some new opponents? Please. What about Neville? What about Stardust? What about, I don't know, somebody else? Is there not anybody else you could have Ryback face? No? Well, that's a shame, because I think they do have other people besides The Miz and the Big Show over and over and over and over again. But this match, it wasn't bad. And during the match, Big Show grabbed the mic and he's like, I'm not retired until there's somebody out there who can retire me. And I'm just like, really? He needs to go. Big Show needs to retire. It's done. Goodbye. There's actually some high spots. Big Show, actually was able to get slammed off the top rope by Ryback, and Ryback also hit a nice spine buster in the match. Ryback got the win with a Miz distraction, and then Ryback hit Shell Shock. So I don't know what they're doing with the IC title. I hope to God it's not Miz versus Ryback at Night of Champions. I was hoping for a Stardust Ryback feud. At least that would be something different. That's what I said in my predictions video for Night of Champions, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We had our next Beat the Clock match. It was Charlotte versus Brie Bella. And Charlotte won with within a minute 40. Or at the minute 40 mark, Short. Nothing to say about. On NXT, these women have storylines. These women have characters. These women have directions. These women have match of the year candidates like Sasha and Bayley had at NXT TakeOver. In my opinion, was probably my favorite match throughout the whole weekend. If not within my top 3, Taker Lesnar, Cena Rollins, Bayley Sasha Banks, and then the ladder match. Just saying, if you make it important, if you give them storylines, if you give them character development, this can be a revolution. Right now, it's not a Divas revolution. That title needs to get off Nikki. We need to split these girls up, allow them mic time, allow them stories. It's not hard to do, Vince. It's not hard to do. Look at NXT. It's a success. They were the double main event. I don't want to hear that it can't be done. They proved it can be done. Obviously, your 30 team of writers can't do it. It just frustrates me because Charlotte is talented. Hell, even the Bellas have some talent. You know, Alicia Fox, Paige, Becky, the Boss, Sasha Banks, Naomi. To me, we have women that can work. You just have to give them directions. I'm sorry about that rant. It just frustrates me. I want to see these girls succeed. I want to see them main event a pay-per-view or a Raw, but I don't know. Except we had a rematch. I really didn't want to see it, but it was really good. I'm just surprised they just threw it out here. Cesaro and Kevin Owens. Fantastic match. What can I say? Both these guys are awesome, and I hope they are one day WWE heavyweight champions because they deserve it. Fantastic match. I mean, it was a hard-fought, really good match. Might even be better than their SummerSlam match. Cesaro, early on, hit a big vertical suplex and that double stomp. Took control. And then some nice stiff uppercuts, hitting him when he's coming down out of the air. And then, like I said, just high energy, high octane, fast-paced action. These guys, tremendous match. However, Cesaro tried to flip Owens over the ropes, countered, and then Owens was able to send Cesaro crashing, and he hit his ribs off the announce table, so I liked where that went. And then Owens later targeted the ribs and eventually got the pop-up powerbomb for the win. So the first 2 hours of the show were I like the Sting promo, I like Ziggler, Rusev, and I like this, and like the beat the clock stuff, so it was But this was a really great match, and I hope this feud continues going into Night of Champions. Then we had what was probably my favorite segment of the night. We had Dean Ambrose versus Braun Strowman. Got to get that name right. The new member of the Wyatt family. And this was it wasn't really much of a match because this guy just freaking manhandled Ambrose. He dominated them. And before the match, I have to mention that Bray Wyatt cut a promo and, basically he said, we're back, we're better, we're stronger than ever. And it's basically the apocalypse, pretty much. So look out. Shit's going to go down. And it certainly did. I mean, Ambrose was out there with Reigns. However, this guy just manhandled him. We tossed him around. And then Reigns was just watching Ambrose getting his ass kicked. And then Reigns eventually tried to interfere. But Strowman just eventually attacked and led to the DQ. And without any assistance, he was able to manhandle and destroy Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. So they really made this guy look strong. And then Harper and Wyatt came into the ring. There was a steel chair brought in, but to no avail. And then by Ambrose. And then Harper and Strowman were eventually able to feed Reigns to Wyatt for the Sister Abigail. So this was a great segment. Really great segment. I enjoyed it. Best one of the night. We had our third and final Beat the Clock challenge match. We had Paige taking on the Boss, Sasha Banks. This could have main evented the show if it had 20 minutes. And believe me, it could have, because these girls can work. But with a minute 40, there's not enough time. So obviously Paige wasn't going to win. I mean, you're not going to beat Sasha Banks in a minute 40. So Paige lost, and Charlotte is your new number one contender to Nikki Bella, and will be facing her at Night of Champions. I like that. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. I thought afterwards maybe Paige would get frustrated and turn on Charlotte. I was hoping maybe Paige and Becky take her out, but that didn't happen. So we just left and went to the next segment of the show. We have the Dudley Boys in their first Raw match in over 10 years, taking on New Day Rocks. New Day Rocks. This was a fun match. The New Day came out, and they were like, we got to save the tables. We got to save the tables. The one table here tonight. And Xavier came out with this goofy looking hair. I wasn't expecting it. Oh, it was so funny. And they had this one table in bubble wrap. And also the primetime players were out on commentary. So I'm seeing a triple threat match happening at Night of Champions, which will be a great match. The tag titles would be freaking awesome. So yeah, then the match got underway. It was Kofi and Big E taking on Devon and Bubba Ray. And yeah, it was a good match. The Dudley Boys were able to get the win by hitting the 3D finisher off Kofi. Afterwards, they were threatening to put Big E through the table, but Xavier Woods was able to help get his New Day teammates to safety. So I wanted to see them put through the table, but probably going to have to wait till Night of Champions, which should be a great match, that triple threat match, if that's what they're going for. Then we had our last segment of the night. So Seth Rollins cut a backstage promo interview with Renee Young and said he's going to call out Sting, and he wants his statue. Because since he didn't get it last week, he wants it this week. So Seth goes down to the ring, and he wants Sting to come out. However, Stephanie McMahon comes out. Because Rollins said that he might possibly be better than Triple H, so she took exception to this. She came out to the ring, and Stephanie warned Rollins that this is just Sting trying to get inside your head. Don't let him get to you. And that Sting is trying to pull us all apart, but we need to remain strong and united as the Authority. And then instead of Sting coming out, John Cena came out. And he told Rollins that they're using you, and then eventually they'll just kick you to the curbside when you're no longer the flavor of the month. And that Cena said, and he was talking to Stephanie, that he has a rematch clause, and he wants to invoke it at Night of Champions for the United States title, as every title has to be defended at that show. And then he asked Stephanie, would you allow me? You have the power, so let me face Rollins for that title, U.S. title. And Stephanie said yes. And then Rollins was really pissed. Cena got out of the ring, and then Sting and Cena stood on the entranceway to close the show. So yeah, that was Raw in a nutshell. Wasn't the best show. It certainly wasn't as good as last week. But there were some highlights. It wasn't all bad. It was just the first 2 hours were just meh. I liked the first hour. The second hour dragged. And then the third hour picked it up. So I'm going to give this show a C-. That's what I'm giving it this week. A C-. So yeah, these are my thoughts and opinions on Monday Night Raw. If you like what you saw, click that like button, that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who continues to watch my videos. Also, some channel plugs. I'm a part of the Gamer Gang. We make podcasts. We also do live reactions to video games that we play. So check that out. Also, check out Generic Luchador. He's a really good YouTuber. And also check out the Lexman's channel. And with that, I am out. So take care, everyone. Peace.